I finished Mario 64
Hey.
100% for the first.
Is that the picture we can see behind you?
It is, yeah, 120
That is your
stars.
screenshot.
No, it's not my screenshot, but
okay.
I just found one. 120 stars, the first time I've ever done it. I think I finished Banjo 100% in like 1997 or 8. I did that pretty quickly, and I actually did it more than once. I think my record's like 9.5 hours for Banjo-Kazooie 100%. This took me just under 20, and I would say the last 5 stars took about 5 hours altogether because it was just really, really painful experience. And I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that I pushed myself to finish it at 120 stars. Mark DeRuse was saying on the Discord that he would never do that because he knows, like, he's done it once before in the past and he's never going to do it again. Kind of agree with him, kind of can see why. But overall, I really, really, really enjoyed Mario 64. It's been a long time since I played it. I always used to say that Banjo was better. Like, Mario 64 is good, but Banjo was better. But I was surprised, actually, by how much I enjoyed Mario 64 this time round. And I think up to about 110 stars, the game, it would have been close to a 10 out of 10, I think. I had that much fun with it. I really like the level design. I like how compact the worlds are. There's not a lot of exploration. There's a little bit, but it's never like the worlds are not too big. It's not like Banjo-Tooie or Donkey Kong 64. Like, it's not crazy big. So it's like a small playground. That's what I really like about it, and the fact that they fit 7 stars into each world as well. You know, you are rewarded for exploration. You can do some stars out of order if you want. My favourites are probably... I know people don't like this, but I really like Hazy Maze Cave. And I really like Wet Dry World is my favourite because finding that sort of hidden city under the water is pretty cool. I remember doing that for the first time and being absolutely blown away when I was like 10 or whatever years old, 10, 11 years old. And I just like the platforming in that level as well. There's a lot of like tricky platforming to get up to the bomb that opens the cannon as well. That took me a while to figure out. But yeah, I had a great time with it. Some of the 100 coin challenges were pretty difficult. I think I managed a couple of levels where I just scraped 100 and got the star. Snowman's Land, that took me a while as well. There's a few tricky stars on that one. But the worst offender, unfortunately, was TikTok Clock. And that was just a brutal and painful experience. Like, I absolutely hated every second of it. And from a level design standpoint, it's probably the most interesting level in the game. The fact that you can manipulate as well how everything moves by jumping in the clock at the right time is a really cool concept. Some of the platforming challenges, definitely the most difficult level in the game in terms of actual platforming. But it's just completely ruined by the camera and the poor controls, I would say. I think Glenn, I mentioned it on the forum that the key to Mario 64 is momentum. Like, when you have good momentum and, you know, you're doing triple jumps and diving and all that stuff, it feels really good. It feels really responsive. It's in those moments when there's a tight space or a tight corridor that it just, the flaws become so apparent. And there's a lot of sort of small areas in TikTok Clock where you have to do like a big jump but in a really tight area, and the stick, in my opinion, on the Joy-Cons and on the Pro Controller just don't quite feel responsive enough. Now, the N64 had that sort of long stick, didn't it? And it had the 8 grooves, which kind of helped with doing side jumps and backflips and stuff like that. And I may be wrong about this because it's been a very long time since I've held an N64 controller, but I seem to remember that a slight push in one direction was much easier to pull off. I've been finding with the Pro Controller that it's been really hard for me to move or adjust Mario very, very slightly, and that it always goes too much or it doesn't respond. And it just, like, in combination with the camera, it caused me to die so many times. 100 coins took me 45 minutes in TikTok Clock. The star where you have to get to the top and then get the star above the thwomp, that took me forever as well because I just couldn't get to the top. I tried it with nothing moving and it was too difficult. obviously it's almost impossible because the clock hand doesn't turn around to get you up there. So then I had to try it on slow, and I managed it a couple of times. And then when I got onto the thwomp, I actually fell back down again. So, so it was just an absolute nightmare. And I really, really hate how when you're close to a wall, Mario sort of sticks to the wall with his hands against it, and you can't do like a backflip or anything like that. So just little niggles really caused me to experience a lot of frustration in the last sort of few hours of the game. And the 8 golden coins in that flying world that's opposite Rainbow Ride, it took me forever because the camera, I just couldn't line up the camera decently behind Mario to, fly into the coin. It was always a little bit over or a little bit under or a little bit to the side. So yeah, it was just painful. And like when you want to land on a cloud and you sort of overshoot a little bit, or you do a butt stomp and you just miss the cloud and end up going down. And the worst thing is, instead of kicking you out of the level, it kicks you back to the entrance of the castle.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
So I had a bit of a nightmare, but overall, what a great game. Like, the music is so good. I'd forgotten a lot of these tunes, and like I love the underwater music in the Jolly Rogers Bay and the other sea level. The snow music, like the Rainbow Ride sort of bonus level music, just great. And Rainbow Ride actually is a level that I've never played before, because every time I started it on the N64 when I was younger, I was just like, nope, not doing this, and just like bailed out completely. But having said that, like Rainbow Ride, I think is one of the best levels in the game. Now that I've
amazing.
Done it, yeah,
it puts everything you've learned before and in an intuitive order as well. Yeah, I love that level.
Still not without its frustrations. Some of those jumps can be a little bit tricky, but
the moving carpets.
It feels much fairer than TikTok Clock, and the camera's not as much of a problem. You can always kind of find the right angle in Rainbow Ride. So that was, I mean, that's got sort of Galaxy vibes to it a little bit, hasn't it, Rainbow Ride? So I really enjoyed that level. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I had a lot of trouble beating Bowser. I couldn't line up the final hit, which Dennis also mentioned in the Discord. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag. I've seen that Dennis has given the game 8 out of 10 on the website. I've read through the review. The review's actually quite negative. Like, he focuses a lot on the negative things. But it's a short review, and I know I've just spent the last 10 minutes focusing on negative things as well. But I think 8 out of 10 is a fair score. I think, obviously, we have to take into the context of when the game was released. And looking back now, was it 23, 24 years later, unbelievable achievement that they just came out of the blocks immediately with that. It is a masterpiece, I think. And as I mentioned last week, the stuff that they've touched up really makes it look good in 2020. It still looks like a decent game. It's clearly an early 3D game, but the sort of really sort of eyesore-y things that it had on the Virtual Console versions have been removed. And it definitely runs and looks a lot better than it did on the N64. And it runs and looks a lot better in some aspects than Sunshine, which I've also started. I've got 12 shines, and I'm enjoying it. Like, Mario is much easier to move. I like Mario's movement a lot more in this game. It's the only thing I don't like is that you can't do a long jump, but you can do that sort of B and A together is kind of like a long jump. Sort of a long.
Is that the dive? The
dive, yeah, the long dive. Yeah. I've been enjoying Mario Sunshine. I think I've got like 2 or 3 stars on each of the first few worlds, but the frame rate is shocking. There's a lot of slowdown in this game, and it's new. It's not something that was in the original. There's just moments when you can really notice like massive frame drops, and it's a bit jarring, to be honest. And I do wonder if it's a problem with the emulation, because I didn't experience any of that in Mario 64, and I haven't in Galaxy from what I've played at Galaxy. But yeah, Sunshine, when there's a lot on screen, when there's a lot on camera, and when there's the sort of the effects of the sun in the background, it takes a hit. And like pressing the L button to open the map as well, you can see there's a big frame drop there. There's a big like number of frame drops there, and it's just a a bit weird. I mean, it still runs nicely. I mean, I would prefer 60 obviously to 30 because the original was 30, even though they wanted to target 60. And I think if you start with Galaxy in this collection, you're going to have a bad time when you go back to Sunshine. It's going to feel really sort of janky and a little bit jarring. So my advice would be to go 64 Sunshine Galaxy, save the best till last. But yeah, it's been 18 years, I think, since I played Sunshine. I only played it on the GameCube when it launched. I got to like 96, 97 shines. I never finished it 100%, so that's the target again for me this time. And so far, I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's amazing how different it is from Mario 64. Like, completely different game, completely different approach, ideas, and it still feels like quite fresh coming off Mario 64. I didn't like, one of the things that I didn't like about the game originally was I felt like it lacked variety a little bit. Like, if you compare 64 to Sunshine, obviously the worlds in 64 are way more varied, but looking at it now, I kind of like the whole island theme that it goes for, and how you sort of, there's different parts of the island which are different enough, but the sort of the central theme is still there. So,
but there were a lot more sub things to do, you know, like races and jet boosts, and there were many kind of mini games rather, different than, you know, they threw variety in a different way at you.
Yeah, I've done a couple of them. Some of those, like those platforming challenges, are not easy. I've done 2 or 3 of them, I think, overall so far. So I'm not looking forward to the pachinko machine. But I'll probably just keep plugging away at this in the background. I got into a bit of a rush to try and finish Mario 64, but I think this time with this one, I'm just going to take it a lot more slowly and play other stuff in the meantime. Just do like 2 or 3 shines a day and not sink too much time into it. But I am enjoying it. It's a game that I've missed playing, that I've been desperate for a re-release of for a long time, so happy with the collection.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.